We have now reached the 7th film in a series that I think we can all agree has lost its focus. The first Saw was innovative, gory and had an excellent storyline. Some even class it as the greatest horror film of all time, although I'm not too sure I concur with that. The second and third installments in the Saw franchise, a.k.a. that this guy has been dead for 4 films but here he is again franchise, follow the conventions of their predecessor. They too are very well written, nauseatingly sick and well acted. I personally found Saws 4 to 6 to be gory, but dull. The focus was clearly taken away from script writing and put into conjuring up more twisted games and as many ways to rip an arm off as possible. This brings us to Saw 7, or Saw 3D as it is known. The name alone will make this film a box office smash. Everyone who buys a ticket for this film knows exactly what they're going to get, except this time they expect to have blood and guts thrown at them in all their 3D juiciness. It is fair to say that if anyone tells you they just want to see how the saga ends, they're lying. I challenge anyone to recall the storylines of all 6 films without doing a bit of research first. Though it's only a formality, I'll outline the plot. As we know, the killer is now an ex-detective that adopted Jigsaw's work following his death in the 3rd film. Wife of original serial killer John Tobin has learnt the alter identity of Detective Hoffman and after failing to take revenge on him, goes to the police to tell all. Running alongside this pointlessly complicated and forgettable story is a subplot in which 2 best friends concoct a story where one of them survived one of Jigsaw's games. Subsequently they write a book and begin its shameless promotion, much to the annoyance of Tobin. As is obvious from the start, author Bobby DeGeneral and his entourage are thrust into a new set of games whilst the police track down Hoffman. Admittedly, this storyline is far better than most of the other films, but certainly not without its flaws. Namely, why are internal affairs investigating a serial killer? Why does the main protagonist never pass out from pain? Where does Jigsaw get the money to create the games? And how long did he have to study electronics and mechanics in order to build such elaborate contraptions? As promoted by the trailers, Saw 3D is the film that wraps the story up. It does this successfully, but clumsily. It's hard to explain without giving away spoilers, but it involves the reintroduction of a character that was long forgotten and forces you to accept that just because we weren't told of their involvement, doesn't mean it didn't happen. If you think you know the conclusion prior to going into the screening, you don't. There are no clues in any films for you to draw from and barely a hint throughout this production. As far as the 3D is concerned, it seems a little pointless. You do have entrails flying at the screen, but these instances are so rare that they just don't justify the extra cost. 3D still remains a gimmick that is great on paper, but always a little disappointing. With the exception being Avatar, of course. The games are as gory as expected and the acting is as bad as the script. Saw 3D is exactly what you imagine it to be and will please its target audience greatly. If you like blood, screams and the thought of body parts flying at you as they are creatively ripped from barely breathing victims, or enjoy the thought of seeing a Linkin Park frontman with no skin, then this film is definitely for you. However, if you prefer a more supernatural/psychological form of horror, and have had a lot of caffeine to keep you awake, then Paranormal Activity 2 should be your Halloween film of choice. Overall, Saw 3D is not a bad film, but certainly lacks the flair and prominence of the Saw that started it all, and the frequent flashbacks to the original only serve to remind us of this.